What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day of Philly sports history for April 24th, 2023. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Really quick, if you usually follow on Instagram, and if you do, probably aren't even watching this right now, but I've been having issues with the videos uploading to Instagram. I'm not sure why. It's been like 3 or 4 days in a row where they say they're uploading and then they're not there. So I'm going to continue to work through that, but if for some reason you can't follow on Instagram, follow on Twitter or YouTube, Jimbo_Mont, so you can get the videos delivered right to your inbox. But Phillies update. Good win yesterday, 9-3 over the Rockies. They definitely did what they had to do to the Rockies after, quite frankly, getting embarrassed in the first game of that series, which they shouldn't have lost there. But now they've won 3 in a row. They're 1 game under 500 with a big series against the Mariners coming up at home this week. Wheeler was dealing 11 Ks. Turner, Clemens, and Bryson Stott all hit home runs. So it seems they're starting to put it together, and help is on the horizon. Bryce is still progressing well. Seems like he's well ahead of the target date. As I mentioned last week, May 1st apparently is when he has that doctor's appointment. All right, so good win for the Phils. Let's keep it rolling. All right, quick update on the Sixers. I've not heard any updates on Joe and his injury, kind of where he's at with his recovery. However, because of what happened last night and what will happen or possibly could happen on Tuesday, we do know when the Sixers will start their series, likely against Boston. If Boston wins tomorrow night, they will play Saturday. If the Hawks win tomorrow night, the game will be Monday. So we know it's either a Saturday, Monday. Let's just hope the Hawks can somehow pull it off tomorrow. We'd love to get Joe the extra couple days of rest just to make sure. I mean, he's going to be banged up no matter what, but if we can get him an extra day or so, that will definitely help the cause out. And speaking of positive vibes, we're going to keep them rolling today when it comes to the Sixers. We're going to go all the way back to 1967. And April 24th, 1967, the Sixers beat the San Francisco Warriors 125-122 to win their first championship in Philly. They did win in 1955 as the Syracuse Nationals. It was their 4th year since coming to Syracuse to Philly. Ironically enough, after the Warriors left Philly to go to San Francisco. Rick Barry had 44 for the Warriors. He was a beast that day. Wally Jones had 27 for the Sixers. Yeah, Wilt was not the leading scorer for this game, but he did have 23 boards. Hal Greer had 7 assists. And this game took place at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. I don't even know if it's there. I just thought it was a pretty cool name. This 66-67 Sixers team, for the most part, was always widely regarded as one of the best to ever play any generation, any time frame, until the 95-96 Bulls and then the 15-16 Golden State Warriors came in, but they went 68-13 through 50 games. They were 46-4, just dominating throughout. It was sort of the culmination and the build up since they came down from Syracuse to Philly. They were battling with the Celtics, and they were trying, and finally 67. We talked the other day about one of those final games with Havlicek stealing the ball, but this was just, they finally got over that hump. Very coincidentally, very similar to the 82-83 team finally getting up over the hump. They rolled through the playoffs, and like I said, up until in my lifetime, everybody always talked about how great this team was, and then the 95-96 Bulls that went 72-10 came into play into that conversation, and then the 2015-16 Warriors as well, who I believe, off the top of my head, they actually won 73 games, if I'm not mistaken. But on this day, back in 1967, the Sixers won their first championship in Philly, 125-122 over the Warriors. Just an all-around great team. Wilt kind of just did Wilt things throughout that whole year and just kept it going. So I know my Uncle Randy will appreciate that. All right, today's Eagles draft pick spotlight. We're counting down the days to draft day, which is Thursday night. We will be recording, if all goes well, our draft special tonight for Back to the Future. So be on the lookout for that. But today we're going to spotlight Wes Hopkins. The Birmingham, Alabama native was a second-round pick and number 35 overall. He was a safety from SMU. He is in SMU's Hall of Fame. He spent all 11 of his seasons with the Eagles from 83 to 93. And he was an All-Pro and a Pro Bowler in 1985 on a pretty bad team. But he did... He stuck around after Buddy Ryan came in and was part of that gangrene defense. He and Andre Waters made up one of the most fear-inducing safety tandems in the league. They were just both very, very hard hitters. Waters sometimes would be slightly on the other end of the rule book. But between the two of them, they were just dominating, and to the point where Mike Quick, I read it, and he told a story that at the Pro Bowl one year, Wes had tore his knee up, so like they were trying, like he was out. He did it, I think, in '86, missed all of '87, but after that '87 season at the Pro Bowl, Roy Green for the Cardinals was asking Mike Quick, like, "Hey, how's Wes?" Like just trying to plan his offseason because that's how feared he was, and just like, when's he coming back? How's the knee? He was asking like so many questions about Wes Hopkins and just being fearful that he was going to come back. He did hurt his knee, missed, but he battled back, and he was counted out a few different times. They drafted guys that were supposed to be his replacement, and he just always ended up beating them out at camp. So you got to like that with a guy who just keeps saying, okay, bring him in. I'm still going to be the starter. He finished his career with the Eagles with 30 interceptions, 12 sacks, 16 fumble recoveries, and a touchdown. And then he did die. He passed away in 2018. There were rumors that he may have his health just deteriorated. But much like Andre Waters, who unfortunately committed suicide due to CTE, it was believed that Wes Hopkins did have CTE as a result of just some of the way things played. But from my opinion, he's one of the best to ever do it. A big part of those defenses that I grew up watching and falling in love with. But Wes Hopkins is our Eagles draft pick spotlight. He was drafted in the second round, number 35 overall in 1983. I would say he had a pretty solid career with the Eagles. Never quite, because of that defensive line, never quite probably got the accolades he deserved, and the fact that Andre Waters was dirty. So I think he sort of went under the radar a lot. But big part of those defenses and very underrated. So shout out to you, Wes Hopkins. All right, so we're going to become Hawks fans for tomorrow night. Hopefully that will extend and give Joe a couple days to get rest. Like I said, I did not hear any updates yesterday on his health. I don't know if that's good or bad. So we'll see what comes out today. I'm sure they're going to have a practice or a shoot around or something. Phillies off today. Start that series against the Mariners tomorrow. Let's just keep the positive vibes going. Like, just think positive, healthy thoughts for Joe and the Sixers. Let's go Trae Young, and let's extend that series at least one more game for us. It's the least you could do after what you did to us a couple years ago. But this has been This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Monday, and until next time, I will see you when I see you.